He was denied access to the first-class lounge, unaware that he was standing before the owner of the airline. This moment changed everything. What happened next shocked even the most seasoned professionals. But let's start from the very beginning. Joshua Hartwell, a black man in an expensive suit, was heading toward the first-class lounge at the international airport. It was just another ordinary morning for Joshua, the owner of one of the largest airlines in the country, but his day was destined to take an unexpected turn. As he approached the entrance, he encountered a young desk clerk named Justin. Justin, a man used to judging people by their appearance, gave Joshua a skeptical glance. "Good morning, sir. Please show me your ticket," Justin said, but his tone betrayed disbelief. Joshua silently handed over his ticket, confident it was just a formality. But Justin's reaction caught him off guard. "Sorry, but access to the first-class lounge is for passengers with the appropriate tickets," Justin said with clear mockery. Joshua looked at the young man and calmly said, "I'm sure my ticket qualifies. Could you check again?" Justin began searching through the system, but his tone remained unchanged. "Sir, are you sure this is your ticket? It only lists your name, but you do realize that the first-class lounge isn't for everyone?" He paused, offering no direct explanation. People in line started turning their heads. Joshua could feel the tension building. He had faced such treatment before, but today he decided it was time to confront it. Calmly but firmly, he said, "Check again. I'll wait." Justin rolled his eyes and began rechecking the ticket. But even when the system confirmed Joshua's access, the young clerk refused to relent. This was no longer just a misunderstanding. Joshua could feel it. His denial was about his skin color. Justin continued to doubt, checking Joshua's ticket and his details in the system, but his confidence didn't waver. "Sorry, but you can't enter the lounge. Your ticket isn't valid," he said, not hiding his displeasure. Joshua exhaled calmly, realizing this wasn't just an error. It was bias. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his business card, and placed it on the counter. "I'm Joshua Hartwell, the owner of the airline. Check again," he said, keeping his tone controlled. Justin's face turned pale as he went silent, realizing who he was dealing with. But he immediately began to stammer. "Sorry, Mr. Hartwell, I didn't know." Justin started to apologize, but the words were stuck. At that moment, Senior Manager Lisa approached, saw the situation, and asked, "What happened?" Not knowing how to respond, Justin muttered, "Mr. Hartwell can't get into the lounge." Lisa looked at Joshua and said, "My apologies, Mr. Hartwell. This is a misunderstanding. I'll handle it." But Joshua, feeling the growing resentment, added, "If these kinds of incidents continue, I will take action. This isn't just an error. This is a systemic issue." With those words, he gathered his things and walked away, leaving a silence and bewildered looks from the staff. Passengers began whispering, and Joshua understood that this moment would become a turning point, not just for him, but for the entire company. The following day, Joshua Hartwell, still reeling from the incident, saw his name and the video of what had happened start to appear in the news and on social media. The reaction was instantaneous. The video of Justin refusing to let the airline owner into the lounge had gone viral. In the comments, people expressed outrage, demanding not only the exposure of the specific incident, but also a deeper look into the widespread issue of racial bias in the airline industry. Joshua sat in his office, reading the comments. Some expressed support, while others criticized him for overreacting to what they called a minor misunderstanding. But he knew it wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was an act of discrimination. Later that evening, as Joshua returned home, he received a call from Lisa, the senior manager, who was trying to calm the situation down. "Mr. Hartwell, I want to apologize for yesterday's incident. I realize the situation got out of hand. We'll do everything to ensure this doesn't happen again." Lisa tried to reassure him. "Are you talking about what happened at the airport, or are you addressing the systemic issue?" Joshua asked, his voice heavy. "Of course, the system. I promise we'll implement additional training for all staff. This won't happen again," Lisa replied. But Joshua was certain that apologies alone wouldn't suffice. He knew that if this wasn't addressed at the systemic level, all of his efforts would be in vain. Lisa, I think this is not just about your staff. These are issues that affect the whole company. We're going to conduct an internal investigation. Otherwise, I won't be able to trust my brand, he said firmly. The next day, Joshua called an emergency meeting with the heads of all departments. By evening, key figures in the company, including Lisa and Justin, were gathered in the conference room. Justin now looked visibly nervous. "We have a serious problem," Joshua began, looking around at the assembled team. "This isn't just the mistake of one employee. This is an egregious injustice, and I cannot ignore it." He showed the team several clips from the viral video of the incident. The reaction was immediate. Several people in the room looked embarrassed, and Justin just stood there, unsure of what to do. "I know not all employees are guilty, but this isn't the first time something like this has happened. We'll start by reviewing our hiring policies, training, and corporate ethics," Joshua declared. "We'll bring in external consultants on inclusivity so every employee will have the opportunity to learn how to combat bias and racism." Then he turned directly to Justin, who had pressed his lips together. "Justin, you'll be undergoing special training, and I hope you understand that your behavior wasn't accidental. You didn't just break the rules. You treated someone unfairly based on their race, even though they had every right to be here." Justin looked confused and defeated. He was beginning to grasp the seriousness of the consequences his actions had caused. At this point, Lisa, now fully confident in Joshua's resolve, suggested another measure. "We'll also initiate training for all employees, not just at the airports but in our offices as well. We must eradicate bias at all levels of the company." After this, Joshua decided it was time to take the next step. He announced he would hold a press conference soon where he would outline the company's new stance on fighting racial discrimination. But this was not the end. Joshua's press conference marked the moment of truth. He shared his experience and said, "Every person, regardless of their skin color, deserves equal treatment. What happened at the airport was just the tip of the iceberg. I'm committed to making sure our company leads the way in inclusivity and equality." After the press conference, the situation shifted dramatically. Social media was ablaze with discussions, but many started to support Joshua. It quickly became clear that his determination to tackle racism and bias could be a significant turning point, not just for his company, but for the entire industry. Joshua realized that this was only the beginning. He couldn't stop now, and his fight had only just begun. Several weeks had passed, and the atmosphere within the company began to shift. Despite the ongoing media attention, Joshua Hartwell remained focused. He continued to oversee the implementation of inclusivity training and made it a point to engage with employees to ensure that the company's words were matched by actions. One day, Justin approached him, still visibly embarrassed, but determined to take responsibility for his actions. "Mr. Hartwell, I want to apologize for my behavior. I realize now that I was wrong. I've completed the training, and it has opened my eyes. I will never repeat this mistake," Justin said. Joshua looked at him with a neutral expression, but inside, he felt a sense of relief. This was the first step, and he knew that change was possible if employees were genuinely willing to learn and improve. A few days later, when the situation had calmed down, Joshua received a call from Lisa. "We've completed the internal investigation. Several employees, including Justin, have received the necessary training and support. We've also improved our hiring process and developed new standards for all departments. I think we're on the right path," she informed him. Joshua finally felt that something real had changed. Internal reports showed significant improvements in employee perception of the company, and client feedback was overwhelmingly positive. However, for Joshua, this was not just about fixing mistakes. It was a step towards something larger. He decided it was time for a new phase. The following week, he announced the launch of a new corporate initiative, Equality and Inclusivity, as the core of our business. He invited experts, organized open lectures, and set the goal of embedding these principles not only within the company, but also among its partners and clients. "We will no longer just follow standards. We will set them," he declared at the press conference. This moment marked a turning point for Joshua. He had not only been able to transform his company, but he had also become a leader in the field of social responsibility. He realized that the fight for equality and justice would not end with a single incident. It was a journey that had only just begun.